Hello and welcome to Ask EMBN, the show where we get to discuss and hopefully answer your questions.
Don't forget, if you guys got any questions, drop them in the comments box below, hashtag Ask EMBN, and we'll get back to you ASAP.
First question this week is from Rachel Taylor. Is it easy to install a dropper seat post on a Bosch e-bike? I've watched videos of how to install one on a normal mountain bike and wondered if there's any differences.
Good question. It really depends on how that seat post is already routed. If it's an external routed cable, it's going to be really easy. You can just simply run a cable from the handlebars up to the seat post mechanism, get the dropper working easy. But if it's an internal or stealth routed cable, it can become a bit more complex, especially if the seat tube's like interrupted or kinked, the down tube, it's just a bit more complex. And some of the bikes that we have to drop the motor or swing it out of the way to get into the seat tube.
Just get those cables back in correctly, right?
But just make sure that you're getting a nice cable run into the seat post, because you get any sharp kinks in that cable, it's going to ruin that seat post action.
I guess what Rachel is also going to consider is what length seat post to use as well.
Yeah, definitely. If you use a taller rider, you want to go for that longer option. Obviously, a shorter rider, you just want to make sure that you haven't got too much of that seat post on full extension that you can't reach the pedals.
There you go. Hope that helps, Rachel.
Have a look at it.
Hope that helps. This in from Mark Smith. Anyone know where I can get a battery pin cover from? I've temporarily taped an old inner tube when transporting to try and stop rain going in directly to the open cover, which causes a faulty switch. You know, that is, it won't switch off till it dries out. Chris, I don't actually know what a battery pin cover is.
You don't know what one is? Well, good on you for removing that battery for transporting your bike. A lot of people don't actually bother. But if you are looking for a cover, there's lots available on the internet. I recently got one from Amazon, from NC17 was the brand. It's a Velcro connection around the down tube, and then it goes around the connection port as well. So a really nice seal.
Can I stop you there?
You can.
What bike is this in relation to? Is this like a Bosch motor?
I think this was quite
Yamaha?
Yeah,
I've
no idea actually, but that was quite a universal one that I saw. So
right, okay.
I think for some of the major players with the external batteries, that would be the one I'd be checking out. NC17.
There you go. Scale Garage. Hey, Ask EMBN. I think about buying a fat e-bike. There are not that many options out there, but I really would love to see you guys testing one. I'm not really into fat bikes, Chris.
I don't know. I was thinking about it the other day, like, especially with the snow we've recently had, a fat bike, an e-fat bike. But you imagine the climbs we could do on one of those things, the grip and the traction from that bike.
I just don't like snow either.
You don't like snow, you don't like cold?
No.
But you like climbing though, right?
I like climbing, but I don't like fat bikes and I don't like snow.
I want one. It's definitely on my wish list.
Scale Garage, I tell you what, we'll get a fat e-bike in and we'll have a ride. Hopefully not in the snow, but maybe in loads of slippy mud.
Yeah.
That'll give us a good idea. And we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Okay, well, this one in from Julie Olsen. What is the best e-bike that you could both use on single track trails as well as a transportation bike with a rear rack for panniers? I'm also a short woman, so I need a short standover height. So far in my research, the ladies' high bike S0 Hard 7 Life seems like the best option, but I'll be interested in your opinion.
Whoa, that's quite involved. Julie, I don't know what height you are. I guess that's the first question. If you are just riding on fire roads and roads, then I think a hardtail is definitely a good way to go. Now, Julie, you need to be really careful with working with standover figures, because standovers measure differently between different brands. Some brands measure the standover down where the top tube joins the seat tube, and other brands measure them in the middle of the top tube. And also, not only that, I've seen it happen that where some brands that don't actually put the right figures on their website. So the only safe way to go about this is to go and try a bike out in your shop before you buy it. Now, I've had a look at the high bikes online, and they don't seem to give standover figures, so it's going to be crucial you get into a shop to try the bikes out there. I've looked at some other brands. I've looked at the Specialized. Now, Specialized do a Wims Levo, and looks like the standover height from small to large is 688 millimeters to 723, which is considerably smaller, or lower, should I say, than that on the men's bike. Now, the men's bike is 756 in small, up to 838 in extra large. So, yeah, I can see that the Specialized women's bikes are definitely smaller on the top on the standover than the men's one. So, like I say, I think go to your shop, try it out, and work it out. But when it comes to panniers, Chris, I'm not so updated on panniers.
Panniers, I
think
think
you can cut. Surely there's a rack which you can get mounts to custom.
Yeah, there's a lot of universal racks available out there. I think the high bike version that you mentioned actually has the rack mounts on it, whereas the Levo I don't think actually has, but as I say, you could get a universal mount on there. Also, what Steve was saying about the seat height as well, you want to think probably about the reach as well. If you're a bit shorter, just make sure the top tube isn't actually too long on that bike as well.
Or too short.
Too long or too short.
Yeah, because if you're going to be going on longer rides, then you want something that's probably a little bit bigger, so that it's more comfortable on long distance. You're not hunched up over the bike. A lot of people get used to bikes that are too small for them, and when they come to buy the new bike, they base their judgments on the previous bike. When that things have actually moved on a lot in the mountain bike world. People are now riding bikes which actually fit them much better. But I think it's a good idea to get a hardtail, because if you've got a full suspension bike and put panniers on there, obviously it's going to weigh the bike down, and you've got the suspension as well. You're going to be leaning back on it.
The way forward.
Hardtail is definitely the way ahead, Julie. Oliver French, hi guys, could you please review a 2019 Giant E-Trans? Pretty please. There are just no real reviews on the new Giant e-bikes, and I would love to hear your thoughts on one. Cheers, Oliver. We don't do reviews. I think what we're trying to do is give you guys as much information as possible on such things as geometry, on sizing, on suspension, on setup, on batteries, on motors, and then you can make your own mind up about that, because ultimately reviewing and testing, it's done by such a wide range of people, and how do you measure performance? I mean, some people can give a review 8 out of 10, others can give it like 9 out of 10. There's so much inconsistency in reviewing, but hopefully we'll be able to give you in all the videos we do, whether it's a how-to from Chris or a fundamentals on batteries or motors, hopefully there's something in there for you to make help you make your decision on buying a bike, and hopefully the Giant e-bike too, because for me it looks like a pretty good bike, Chris.
Yeah, they do look good.
Looks like the geometry's good in it.
Yeah, big backup, nice motors. So good.
It's got the Yamaha motor, which we've used the Yamaha motors. Like I said, the geometry's good in it. I mean, Giant suspension is renowned for being really good.
Yeah.
Componentry, sometimes it's about
points.
componentry. Has it got a dropper post? Has it got the right tyres on it?
Yeah.
Those are important questions you need to be asking, because some bikes don't come with the right tyres. Disc brakes, has it got 200mm rotors on it? So many questions. Matt Saunders,
I really enjoy your show, and even though none of my riding buddies are ready to commit to an e-bike, I'm pretty close. After seeing Steve beat a Canyon Sender on the downhill track, it got me thinking a lovely Kenevo 2019 could replace my very own Sender and Strive. Probably be more fun and get me out exploring again like we used to. But whilst I have more fun at Aston Hill, enjoying double the numbers of the runs we normally do, I'm not sure how I would be received at Revolution Bike Park.
Revolution guys, pretty open-minded.
Yeah. Also, what about flying? We're off abroad next year, and I'm not too sure on how airlines feel about the batteries.
Let's cover the battery thing off first. You won't be able to fly with your battery. You'll have to find a way to ship your battery out there, or there's some places hiring batteries now. It depends on the location you go to. Revolution Bike Park, yeah, like I said, really open-minded guys, but I think what you'll be doing when you buy your e-bike, and I'm convinced you'll be buying one, is you won't be limiting your riding to bike parks and such places. I think you'll be adventuring out there and just trying different things.
Finding
That's
new
the great
stuff.
thing about e-bikes, right?
Yeah.
And sorry, Chris, go on with the Kenevo. I'd recommend you maybe try Levo as well as the Kenevo, because the new Levo has got 29-inch wheels, it's got 150mm travel, it's lighter, it's got a bigger battery range. I definitely get out there. It's also a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So yeah, check it out.
With the Kenevo, it's a really capable bike as well. I feel it's probably the fastest bike I've ever owned up and down the hill. It's literally point and shoot. You can plough through anything. It carries speed. And it's just as capable as like a semi-cross country bike as well. But obviously, it is aimed at more sort of downhilly trail, free riding stuff. But a super capable bike, and it's definitely more than capable of replacing the Sender and the Strive. So yeah, try them out. Try the Levo out, like Steve said. See which one suits you. But definitely a good move. We got this one in from Mark Regan.
Regan's been on the booze.
What if you went for a ride with your friends and they didn't care if you got an e-bike, but you go to the pub, get pissed, and get stopped on your way home by the cops? Would you get done for drunk in charge of a motor vehicle or drunk in charge of a bike?
We've discussed this question at length for the last 10 minutes, and we all know that mountain biking and having a few pints at the end of a run is something everybody does all over the world. But getting pissed, I suggest, our conclusion is that you either get a taxi or you just don't get drunk, right?
Yeah. You definitely got to get charged and drunk of a motor vehicle, because it is a motor vehicle, right? It's a push bike.
You'll actually get drunk in charge of a bicycle. And I actually know someone that's happened to that. He's been in the front page of the national newspaper.
Well, that's it for this week's show. Really hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget, if you want to ask any questions, hashtag #AskEMBN with your question in the comments box below. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And don't forget to smash the globe in the middle to subscribe to EMBN.
But don't get too smashed.